I didn't know my ex-missus was here. Barely fitted in one shot. That lady is dancing. Got some money in his hand. Screamer pipe. Not what I expected to see. Realised you were dancing there. Driven through a football net. About to get attacked by a big hippo looking thing. Hello world. Welcome back to Accelerate and welcome to Halloween Action Day 2025. This year we've been invited down to be on J&B Auto stand, which is Ben and John's new garage that specialise in retro, classics and modified cars. So we're going to take a look at the stand first, and this is the type of cars that they deal with, and the stand in general looks absolutely phenomenal. You guys would have seen this on the channel before. This is Ben's E36, obviously repping the new business there. And they've even got freebies, that's how you know a good business. The Mustang stealing the show, as it always does. More work's obviously been carried out. Ben has literally just fitted electronic ignition on this, so it runs absolutely beautifully. And I don't know if you guys would have saw it from the last time, it's got the cutout of the exhaust, so it sounds like an old school V8 should. And I've always said I will have a Mark II, fair play to him, on every single one of John's cars. He reps Accelerator, we're always grateful for that. He's literally just had this thing wrapped a couple of days ago with the new BBS wheels, and what's amazing with this, John is getting on a bit now, he's even older than me, but this was his first car. He's owned this car 25 years, which I absolutely love. The livery obviously works, and representing J&B Autos, of course. Going around there, again, you guys would have noticed this, we've done a video on this, it was on the Borbay wheels, now repping BBS RAs, obviously with the 20 valve turbo. This was the first Mark II I ever drove, and it's just made me absolutely fall in love with them. So yes, like I said, I will have one when I win the lottery. Good old trusty here. Done a lot of miles on this thing, and as you can see, I haven't even cleaned it, but turned the key and it just starts and runs because all my other cool cars are off the road. But yeah, the weather is clearing up a bit, and the thing I love about Halloween Action Day is people sort of go the extra mile to dress their cars up, so I'm hoping there's going to be some interesting cars here. Right, starting off strong. Mark III Fiestas are one of my favourites, and this looks absolutely... I always forget the name of the wheels, but they look so good on the Mark IIIs. And what looks like a set of carbs, I bet that sounds absolutely phenomenal. But my brother had one of these as a first car, so these do hold near and dear to my heart. That is what my MX-5 looks like at the moment, covered in cobwebs. Now, this is why I love Halloween Action Day. Like I said, people do put some effort into decorating their cars. That is a very pretty GT86 anyway. Cool, funky danger type, then someone's had a bit of an accident on that one. Area 51 always have a very good stand, and that's the reason why. No, I'm just kidding, they do have a very good selection of cars. Seen this 350 quite a lot. Loving the pumpkins as well. But what we saw on the way in, Gen 6 Celica, and of course George's favourite, the 7th gen, looking very good on those wheels. Take the hint. Georgia is looking for the 18s on hers. Massive props for this. This looks so well done. I really like the spoiler and everything. And of course, Gav's 350Zs with rep and accelerate as always. And of course, the lid special seats. So I always say, for those that don't know, Gav is building this with his daughter, and whatever his daughter says goes. For example, Gav wanted a massive chassis mount wing. No, lids didn't want that, so they had to get the spoiler she wanted. So all the decisions are made by her. It just makes that build even more cool. I can't believe I just missed them just now. I do love a Mark II SE, especially the pre-facelift. You don't see many anymore, but I love, again, dressing the car up a bit. That's one of the best decorations I've seen so far, and that is terrifying. The world is moving on to modern performance, very pretty looking Golf there, but I am drawn to cars like that. That is cool as hell. I'm gonna leave it to you guys to guess what was happening here. Someone's been waiting a while. Yeah, I just want to have a quick look. Like I said, I've owned a few K11s. Oh my god, there's a whole row of them. So these are the type of Japanese nuggets that excite me. That sits beautifully as well. Oh, T37 reps there, always look wonderful. God, that's... I need one of these back in my life. Mark 6.5 Fiesta, that really caught my eye, not just because of the yellow. You're about to get attacked by a big hippo looking thing. It certainly brightens up the day, that's for sure. Back onto the Fiesta, not only the crazy colour, I absolutely adore sort of the colour-coded, colour-matched seats. Even the jerry can inside, and all the little details. And I know this whole flame thing, if someone can explain that to me, it really is making a comeback. I think it's an old JDM thing, but it seems to be, wow, you don't see many 6.5s, and this place is full of them. Nice. Some more K11s. What this? You can get, if you get the stance right on these, they look absolutely incredible with some very, very simple mods. And I am a sucker for an E46. Oh, look at the, and you can tell I'm getting old because I really appreciate a tan interior. That really tripped me out then. The guy's just handling barbed wire like it's nothing, so I'm hoping it's decorative. But yeah. And some more. Whoa. So I saw this just now. I'm glad I get to have a proper look at it. So although the Granadas hold this like a special place in my heart, the Scorpio was always the desired one, the top spec one. And I don't think I've ever seen one with headlight covers on it. Makes it look so much more aggressive. And you forget, these are like late 80s, 90s cars. It's huge. And then I just noticed I'm being stared out by this Capri here. I've never seen that mod on a Capri. I love the sort of modern retro resto mod on this. See, with the modern bucket seats and everything. Tiny Mario Kart steering wheel, don't know if you can see that. Spoiler on that sits very well. Oh, wow. And I do like a bit of old school audio as well. These two together, very, very cool. There are some costumes here that are genuinely quite creepy. As a car guy, I have different wants, like every month, cars that I'm just like, I need one of them. And this at the moment is one of the main ones I want. I keep seeing more and more of them. This is, of course, a Corvette. And as far as I'm considering this a supercar because it looks absolutely insane. Big stonking American V8. Surprisingly, relatively affordable compared to, a supercar. And of course, another car that's near and dear to my heart. One of the ones that started the channel off for us, Kenny, obviously had the Evo 7. So 7s have really grown on me more than like the 8s and the 9s, which is a bit controversial. There's a lot of cars with mouths and teeth here today as well. A Mark 1 Clio. This is actually a Mark 1 sort of phase 2 with the facelifted headlights. I had one of these, a 1.9 non-turbo diesel. Poor thing just kept plodding along. They are awesome. And one of the most comfy cars I've ever owned. But that, on the what look like speed lines, yeah, that's cool. Mark 3 MX-5s are always like the neglected ones. I've never seen one on Evo 8 wheels. The Enki or Enkai, however you want to say it. And the spoiler really stood out for me. It really changes the whole sort of profile of the car. And I've never seen those lights on a Mark 3. They do them for the Mark 1. This I love because it's like, I'm not putting it down, but this is like a budget Jay-Z. You get the Japanese taxes going through the roof. But the fact that you can make an E46, which I love anyway, look like a Japanese drift car is pretty cool. This is going to be, I'm telling you now, she keeps going on and on about different cars, but this is going to be Georgia's next project car. And I won't stop pestering her until she does. And ironically, next to it is a car she wants as a daily. She's had enough of the sensible Ford Fiesta, so she wants. She's definitely caught the Jap bug. I mean, okay, it might be my fault, but...
Not just any Jap bug, though. Clearly Toyota.
Yeah, I think you've definitely got your niche, like you said. Ah, I didn't know my ex-missus was here. No, I'm just kidding. Again. Anyway, love a classic Mini, and again, the fact that they've gone above and beyond to decorate it is pretty cool. I wondered, oh, it's a dog. I say that guy's in a weird position there. It's not, it's a dog. Well, it was once upon a time. And one of the many rows of modern Fords, again, decorating the Mark IIs. This is one of those cars I need to tick off my list. And not the wheels I'd go for, but seeing it against that looks really, really smart. I'd like that. Might have to clean it a bit to get the cobwebs off, but George just put me on the spot now. Well, see if I've trained her well. She said, is this a Corolla? And I was like, oh, it's too small. It looks more like a Micra, but I think it is. Oh, it is a Starlet. I was thinking Starlet at first, but it looks, proportions really threw me off. But the way that sits is very funky. I like that. I've seen this at a few action days. And again, I love the whole sort of 90s. Well, like I said, it looks very gangster with in the black saloon with those wheels. I have said it before when we saw it. I do really like the way that thing sits. That is cool. And complete opposite end of the scale. We featured a GR, and ever since then, I've got a whole new appreciation for them. And in the black, again, looks real slick. And of course, it's got vampire teeth. Seeing an NSX is pretty rare in itself. Oh, I'm getting someone's photo. Seeing an NSX is pretty rare in itself. Seeing a modified one is even crazier. Seeing one with Halloween decorations on that's been modified, that's definitely a first for me. And again, a car that's on my dream list. When I win the lottery a couple of times, as we walk past the eerie resting place of these poor souls, we're greeted with another JDM classic. And as I said, RX-7's absolutely legendary. But to see one decorated in Halloween decorations, that's probably another first for me. Very well decorated stand. I like it when the whole stand sort of puts effort in. And then you've just got the odd McLaren, Lamborghini just dotted there as well. Really odd. Yeah, I know I say, oh, I want one of these as a daily. I want this as a weekend car. I genuinely... George will back me up on this. I was looking at one of these. One popped up for sale. Imagine this for a daily, especially all the crap I haul around. quirky little pickups. They're about the size of a car and just funky. I really, really like them, and the more I see them, the more I want one. And we saw this rolling in. Absolutely amazing spec. I love the fact that it's a saloon. The gloss black wheels just look class, and I love, again, 318 badging. That is really cool. Holy cow. I've seen this on a few videos. The Exorcist Mustang is this known insane wide body. Everywhere you look on this car, the thing just looks crazy. So we've come on to like the back section of the track that a lot of people seem to forget about. So this I want to look at first. E36 is, especially in the saloons again, the saloons were like the neglected ones no one wanted. Beautiful on the Alpina style wheels, but this looks absolutely insane, and I really want to know the wheel specs. First of all, the color and everything, but that style BBS, I forget what name it is, they were made for BMWs. What size tire are we looking at? 325, no way, 325s. Okay, you've got my respect. That is insane. Ha. So saying about Mark II Focuses, again, I don't think I've ever seen one. A lot of people convert cars into pickups, and I always respect it because that is not an easy job. That is pretty special. That's quite creepy. Another car you don't see much of anymore. Obviously, I'm a massive MX-5 enthusiast, so these are... Oh, watch yourself. Well, a lot of people consider like the grown-up MX-5. Really cool to see these. The proportions are nuts. The bonnet on the front is nuts. And of course, another micro there. Ultralight F1s looks like. And another car that I always say will be in my dream car garage. Looks like he's driven through a football net. But either way, I will take it with the net or without it. I don't mind, I'm not picky. It is unfortunate. A lot of people put their cars away this time of year, obviously October time. But it's so nice to see JDM gems like this one. Again, a lot of people own these and tuck them away because they're good investments, blah, blah, blah. Love seeing them out and about on what looks like the factory aero kit. So back onto the decorating theme. I wonder if they've wrapped that for the show. If they have, then that is commitment. Looks like they've squashed someone just there as well. But again, it is funky to see a row of them all decorated. And of course, the Beamer boys are at it. Another Mark I, like I said, I've got a soft spot for. What they call the valvers, the 16 valvers, which is the wide body. A lot of people know the Williams one. A lot of people forget about the valvers. That is cool, and obviously looks like it gets used. Daihatsu Copen. That sounds nuts. What a cool shot. One of my favourite Fords ever. Mark 1 RS next to one of my other favourites, a Mark 3, what looks like an RS, and a very modern Mustang. Right, now the internet tells us. Oh, lovely. I was just going to say, we're told not to mess with a car with a headlight missing. Yes, I will not mess with that. Some more decorated cars here. Oh, sorry, seeing that. Yeah, really nice. More decorated goods just over here. Hear me out. I used to have a 107, and I did a couple of videos on it years ago, and it's some of the best views we've had. So I love seeing them modified. I would love to get one now. A lot of people turn them into track cars, but the modification scene on them seems to be growing bigger and bigger. So I really like that. Really good looking stand here. So a lot of people know them as Lexus IS200s. The imports would, of course, the Toyota Altezas. Awesome looking car. Godzilla himself, the R32, looks absolutely stunning on the Nismo style wheels. Nissan Stages, rare to see him without an R34 front end, but I've just noticed the Ortec bits on it with the work wheels. Holy cow. Talk about ultimate daily. We've got a couple of modern stuff going all the way around, but there's a couple I want to have a look at over here. I only don't go into depth with the modern stuff because I don't know much about it. But we're going to move on to something that I absolutely love. We're fortunate enough to drive a few DC5s in that livery. Never seen one in that style livery. That is nuts, with the Mugen front end. And next to that, a rather aggressive looking 350. Loving the carbon bits there. I'm a sucker for good aero, canards, stuff like that. And again, it looks like it gets used. Massive, massive respect. George is not the biggest fan of these, but I will one day convert, and I think that's one that may actually convert her, because that is stunning. So another one again, many moons ago, I actually had a Gen 6 GT, and I only took that thing out to batter it, bless it. So very, very robust cars. Moving along, Golf R's looks so good in white. And what I always like to call the TVR colour, the pearlescent. Me and Georgia were having the conversation off camera. These, again, were like the neglected MR2. Nobody really liked them. They've really grown on me. I mean, it's a mid-engined, rear-wheel drive, little Jap sports car with, I believe, the old sort of WRX or Scooby spoiler. And then next to that, we've got a car I really want to experience, the Ignisport Kenny. Yes, Kenny was looking at one of these as a daily before. Awesome little rev happy 1.5, and I love you got a little JDM car. Like I said, I can barely fit it in one shot. So I didn't know what this was last time, I will be completely honest, as I saw it from the front, but this is a Dodge Charger again, the lesser known. I'm not sure what year it is. The owner did comment on our last video, so if you're watching this one, please let me know. Everyone knows like the Fast and Furious ones, but these ones are the more unknown ones, and I gotta tell you, in person, it is insane. The size on it is ridiculous, and I do think it's got proper back seats, so it was like the more practical Dodge Charger, if you can call it that. That's a very happy looking skull for a change. That is awesome. Purpose built. Wow. Okay, so I wanted to show the fact that there's a Mark 1 MR2 here. Again, covered in decoration. I don't know what it is this year with skeleton dogs. Again, the arches, the wheel setup, the fitment, how that thing sits. Oh, sorry, sir. Didn't realise you were dancing there. That sits absolutely beautifully. That is quite terrifying. And as if skeleton dogs wasn't enough, imagine one with two heads. Now I'm going to have nightmares. I'm really glad it's daytime, because if I saw things like that walking around, I'd probably be a bit terrified. R33, that sits incredible, like we said. Don't mess with a car with a headlight missing. Carbon inlay on that is insane. Again, the fitment and stuff on that, I'm assuming it's on there because that looks insane. And right next to, if this lady wasn't in the way, wide-bodied 350Z. I really like them.
You will never convert me.
And well, looks like a cat, I'm guessing. It's doing all sorts of skeletons this year. A car you really don't see many of anymore. Again, Kenny's owned a couple of these. S13s on, again, for like VIP style wheels and stuff like that. And the decorations, I really, really like that. What looks like an aggressive Type X style wing. Yeah, S13s will always do it for me. Just started making noises as I walked past. Yeah, jumped on my. Thanks for that, pal. Cheers. So we didn't realise at first this is Ignition Legion's stand. That's why it looks so incredible. And I've got to say, this is probably the most effort we've seen in one stand so far. The effort they go through to make this place look awesome is incredible. Believe it or not, underneath all that spookiness is a Scooby wagon, which is pretty funky in itself, but again, whoa. George will love that. Clowns. I know a lot of you guys, yeah, clowns don't really do it for me, and what looks like a drunk Frankenstein thing there. Believe it or not, I used to be cool. I used to have one of these. Didn't have a carbon bonnet though. I absolutely love the carbon against the black and tan interior, which I do love as well. Wow, this is a pretty cool stand as well. The colour on the Golf really pops in the sun. And another one I need to sort of tick off my list as like a Jap cruiser is a Sora. And we've got what looks like an amazing example right here. Big old turbo there. Sits beautifully on the Work VS XXs. That is my dream wheel. Okay, yeah, fine. I'll take it home with me. Oh, carbon boot as well. So I love an E46, and I've seen this before and I completely forgot. It's only when the sun hit it, the whole front end is carbon. I would not want to be scuffing that. I mean, whoo, yeah, wow, that is amazing though. The way the sun hits carbon. Some more funky cars. Ibiza, I owned one of them for like 2 weeks. Yeah, it didn't last long, but anyway, still cool cars. This I wanted to have a good look at. These used to be pennies. You could get into a Type R for literally $1 or $2. These have now shot up. H22 engine is phenomenal in them. Oh, there's another one behind you as well. And then moving along the line, another 6th gen Celica in what's arguably the best livery. They look so good in this. Going back to the Sega Rally days with the OZ wheels, looks incredible. Just noticed over there, Sierra Cosworth hatch on, it looked like TSW Hockenheims. I don't know if there was like a better branded one that did them, but they just look so good on that. EP3's in yellow. I've seen that before. That does look cool. FN2 just shouting and screaming at me. He looks like he's had enough of this car alarm going off as well. Another EG hatch. Oh, very nice setup on these. RPF ones just look good on anything. I know they're not genuine ones, they are the JR ones, but still, that is a pretty looking car. Another car I really want to experience is the 182s. You always see these at track days, and there's obviously a reason why everyone raves about these, and they are still getting cooler and cooler. And look guys, another micro. If you're sick of micros, tough because there's a lot of them in this video. And another Ignis Sport. These seem to be getting more popular. NK wheels, the same ones I've got on my Civic. Again, just suits any Jap car. Bit of a sleeper these. The Colts that came factory with a turbo, and they must weigh about the same as a shopping trolley. Escort, not many of these survived. But again, they were like throwaway cars because they just used to rock for fun, but now seeing them, especially in this dramatic sunlight, looks very cool. The E30 there, repping TGR Motorsport, who we are obviously affiliated with as well. That is awesome. 350Zs, as we all know I love. Evos, everyone's loves, but this really caught my attention. 306 in that colour, looks stunning, and look how clean on the black OZ Ultralegeres, I think. I always get those mixed up. I had one of these back in the day, and to see one this clean, I didn't appreciate mine at the time. Mark my words, these are going to be the next hot hatch that people are going to pay ridiculous money for, because the one thing the French knew how to do in this period was create an amazing driving car, and this is an amazing example. Ooh. Yeah, everywhere you look on things like, wow, that is incredibly well done to see one in that condition. That is not what I expected to see when I turned around. I love seeing all the different characters. Slimer just there. Someone forgot to throw their rubbish away. Oh, wait. Oh. I really want to know. I'm hoping this is not like real paint. And if it is that fake blood stuff, I really hope it comes off. If not, I really appreciate the dedication because they do look cool. And again, tucked away over here, two awesome examples of R34s. The purple against the carbon. Oh, and like the Nismo wings. There's a lot of people don't like those. I didn't like them at first, but they've really grown on me. So, carbon just makes everything look better. And I've seen a couple of videos and stuff on this. This thing goes as well as it looks. And again, it looks like BMW Atlantis Blue, which I always find crazy. Canards there. I don't think they came factory with the bloody arms there. So in the trade stand section, there are usually some gems tucked away. Now this I saw from a mile in. I said it sounded really funky. That is why I knew it sounded unusual. Copans I do love anyway, and I've driven one of these very briefly, and they do give you that real K-car feel. One of the best things about Halloween Action Day is the amount of free sweets that are on offer. Well, I'll have one of those, thank you very much. And I do actually want to take a look at the Scooby. We saw this a mile away. How clean is that? That looks absolutely insane. An AMG, I don't think I've ever seen a C63, which I'm assuming it is because it's badged up and it's got the big old brakes on air in the matte black. That looks really aggressive. So the mystery machine has had millions of iterations, loads of people sort of replicating on different things. Massive American man there. And I've just noticed there, that's pretty cool as well. So obviously Ghostbusters inspired. Next to the mystery machine is one of Georgia's favourites she just saw. Oh my god, you see these things in films? Yeah, wow. I'm a bit speechless. It's huge. Oh my god. Now, I know Jordan's got, I'm not good with American track. I think this is the one Jordan's got. If you're watching, dude, and if this is the one you've got, holy cow, I didn't realise how big they were. That's impressive. I really like that. Look. I'm going to really test my Porsche knowledge. We should know because we've had loads of Porsches on the channel. 991, I think. Either way, GT3 in yellow, just really... Oh, and some anti-racing bits on it as well. That is pretty. And obviously a close-up of the 996 we saw earlier, the absolute purpose-built, incredibly looking track car one. So that's mad. Georgia just walked past this and was like, wow, the colour. I don't think I've ever seen a 911 in that colour. That looks really good. I saw this earlier on in the day as well, and I would love to know more of this because it just looks like a drag truck. Like I said, I've got a thing for smaller pickups lately, so that for me, that sits beautifully. I really have taught Georgia well. She spotted this a mile away. Holy cow. Yep, one of my favourite cars here. Again, a car I'd love to own, but the prices on them are going up and up and up. But a Mark II CRX, again, from my childhood. Kenny's had a few of them. The shape on them is just like no other car. And again, that looks like it gets used in the right way. Kudos. There's a lot of things on camera, I've said before, you just cannot grasp the scale of. You've got a Fiesta there and an F250. I'm sure we saw this at the last one, and it's just so cool. The size on it, and it's only a single cab only. That is it. American stuff over here, like I said, Americans just don't realise. Of course, Texas. Yeah, they don't realise that the scale difference is nuts. Funky coloured, very clean looking Mark 1. Obviously, I'm a Mark 1 fan. Oh, the leather seats. That's pretty funky. And again, one that me and Georgia love. Now, we've actually featured a Mark 1 Twingo. They only came in left-hand drive, and the one we did was one of the most luxurious cars, super mini cars anyway, but seeing one in that colour with those wheels, again, over here, we never had them over here, so seeing them is pretty funky. So I saw this from a distance and thought, I do like the Sparko wheels, and I thought, oh, AR1s, that's a bit nuts. Oh, Screamer pipe, that's a bit nuts. And then I realised, what I'm assuming is a 1.8T in a Lupo. That must be a bit of a handful. That's screwdriver gear knob. I love builds like that. That must be an absolute hoot. Just wow, I didn't even need to say anything. I do like a borer. You never really see them anymore. Oh, fitment on the back. I think that's on just on the edge of nice amount of camber. And a few more Lupos here. I thought these were sort of dying out, but you come to shows and they seem to be getting more and more popular. So there's a lot of decorations, there's a lot of skeletons doing different things. This has to be probably my favourite, not just because it's on an MX-5, but I was just going to... I was going to say, this is what I'm going to look like by the time mine's finished. That is... I really like, that's made my day. The fact it's on an MX-5 as well, that's made my day. I've seen this a few times as well. This has been around a while and I still absolutely love it. Like a rat style KA, and now it's a rat style KA with some funky... He looks like he's having the time of his life up there. Well, life's probably the wrong word. Time of his death. I do love an Orion, and especially in black. Again, you park next to that Cavalier we saw earlier. I think that would be a hell of a duo. Supercharged goodness is, oh, what the... Well, that threw me off. And back onto decorations again. I do believe this is Sugar Skull's stand. Obviously, that kind of gives it away. But again, the decorations, I really like that. That is funky, mad colours everywhere you look. This took me a few seconds and it took Georgia to point it out to me. So that there's a pole, that lady is dancing, and this gent, for some reason, has got some money in his hand.
Oh, I know what that means.
And, you should be wearing that, my dear. Wow. How many people can you fit in one van? Right, so, again, one we featured in our very early days. Not this one specifically, but Beetles, I love because you never know what is under the bonnet there. And we saw this in the services on the way up, and that seems to be a real thing for Beetles. And I love it. A lot of people run 15s, including myself, 15s on MX-5s. 16s look good, but on the big side. This, 17-inch wheels on a Mark 1, wrapped in 195/40 tyres. And I hate to say, that kind of works. It looks really cool. And that is supercharged, well done. Well, looks like an M45 supercharger. As I've said, E46s are awesome. I've seen similar kits on E46s, but people, they tend to look a bit ratty because they're drift cars. This really stood out to me because it's like the drift kit, but just looks like a show car. It sits beautifully, and it's just something a bit different. I really like that. So, saw this at one a few years ago, and this has been a massive inspiration for me, but has made me want a lot more power from mine. I just love all the details, like the vents, just like the time attack sort of inspiration. And then, of course, you've got the complete opposite, unbelievably clean sort of factory body ones. I want a very clean Mark 1 next to my crazy ones because they just look so timeless. 3 spokes, a lot of the time people don't like. These are probably the most popular, the most famous 3 spokes, the Advans, on any Jap car. Any sort of 90s Jap car just looks awesome. I'm in heaven around here, by the way. Right, I want to get a shot. There's so many people around here, but like I always say, Sapphire Cosworth, I always like to feature because I love them. We saw this out on track. Fair play for taking a Volvo brick out on track. The noise this thing was making, and it was shifting. I love you still got like the leather seats and everything else, so he was the comfiest person on track. I wonder what's under there. And of course, we have to feature any 7th gen Celica. What I like about this, they're starting to grow on me the bigger bonnet. It seems to be a popular mod on these. Porsche style, I can't get my S's out, Porsche style wheels on this. I love the TRD wing. I'm trying to convince Georgia to get it, and the bumpers and everything like that. The only thing I'm not a fan of is the little twists there, but as a package, yeah, let's see if we can convince her. That was Halloween Action Day, so a massive thank you to Ben and John for inviting me on the J&B Auto stand, which looks fantastic, like I said. And a massive thanks to Jess, Molly, Lily, Reese, everyone who's made the stand possible. The show, although it's to that time of year where the weather is crap, we've been quite lucky because the sun's come back out and the amount of effort people put into dressing up their cars really just sort of brighten up the show. But yeah, I'm going to go home, get this edited now so I can get out for you as soon as possible. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We will see you in the next one.